Writing systems. Let's first off discuss several terms. When we say grapheme, we mean the smallest unit, piece, or symbol of writing that has meaning. It could be as small as a dot. Okay? As long as it has meaning, it has significance, then that is a grapheme. Then we also have the meaning of the word script. A script is a set of symbols. It could be letters, it could be characters that represent linguistic units. So these units come together and build up a writing system. Then we also have orthography. Orthography are the rules for writing, particularly relating symbols to sound or meaning. Okay? In simplest terms, this could be spelling, but it could be more. It's actually more than spelling. So we have orthography, we have script, and we have grapheme. We also have different types of writing systems. The first is the syllabary, then the abjad, alphabet, abugida, and logography. First off is the syllabary. In syllabary writing system, syllables are represented. It's the syllables that are represented. Examples include Japanese hiragana and the Native American language Cherokee. Again, for syllabary, syllables are the ones that are represented. So here's an example of syllabary. This is the writing system for Japanese hiragana. The first symbol on the left is ka. The second symbol from the left is ki. The symbol in the middle is ku. The fourth symbol from the left is ke. And the fifth symbol is ko. So syllables are represented. It's the syllables that are represented in a syllabary, just like in Japanese hiragana. Now, there was this awesome guy. His name was Sequoia, from the Cherokee tribe, from the Cherokee Nation in the United States. Now, the Cherokee Nation had no writing system, but Sequoia was so bright that he decided to write down the Cherokee language. And at first, he tried representing all words, but then he realized that you simply cannot memorize all those symbols for words. And he realized that what's common in all words are syllables. They have common syllables. And he decided to represent those syllables using symbols. And here are the symbols presented here. Okay. Okay. So because of this script class, the Cherokee Nation's literacy rate become much higher than that of European settlers. The Westerners, the white people in America, they had a lower literacy rate than the Cherokee Nation. So also, Sequoia's work may have influenced the work of Mumala Duwale Bukele, who created the syllabary for the Vai people group in Africa. Now, Mr. Bukele was exposed to alphabet systems. He was also exposed to Arabic abjad abjad writing system, but he decided to write using to create an orthography, a writing system for the Vai people group of Africa using a syllabary. And it's possible that Sequoia may have influenced him. Bukele might have heard about the work of Sequoia. Okay. I wonder if you have any questions for now. I wonder if you have questions for now.
None, Prof.
Okay. Again, for this, because of this script, the Cherokee Nation's literacy rate became high, even higher than that of European settlers. Again, this is a syllabary where it's the it's the syllable that is represented by one symbol. Okay, maybe the syllabary is most applicable to Mora languages. Mora languages are languages whose syllable structure are mainly composed of CV, consonant, vowel, maybe consonant, vowel, consonant, but mainly consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Okay. In fact, when an example of moral languages are Chinese, Korean, and Japanese. Maybe Filipino, ancient Filipino, old Filipino could also be a moral language. So, for example, when Japanese borrows terms from other languages, they end up putting vowels at the end. So beef becomes beefu. Okay. When I hear, I don't know if it's their Koreans or Japanese watching boxing, they would shout left to hook, left to hook. My Korean friend, my Korean classmate, for him, three is suri, suri. So even when they borrow words from other languages, they turn it into a CV structure. Those are what we call moral languages, and maybe syllabaries would be more applicable to such kinds of languages. So that's a syllabary where syllables are represented by a symbol. Then we also have the abjad. In abjad, symbols represent only consonants. It's just the consonants. This is useful if vowels are not very prominent. Okay, again, this is useful if vowels are not very prominent. Also, it's useful if dialects of a language may vary in its vowels. It may have the same basic word, but maybe a little change in syllables. So, a little change in vowels. So maybe for one dialect, it's ki. Another dialect, it would be ke. So you might as well not include the vowels. Okay, that's an abjad, and it's common in Mesopotamia and in the what is called the Near East. So Arabic and Hebrew are abjads. Okay, here's an example of Hebrew. This is modern Hebrew actually. It's read from left to right. So you have Aleph, Bet, Gimel. It's like alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, and it's just the consonants that are represented. So this is modern Hebrew. And we also have Arabic. Arabic also has representations for only for consonants. Now I can't write any word in Arabic or Hebrew. Okay, but here they are. So Arabic and Hebrew are examples of abjads. Maybe even Baybayin in its earliest forms was an abjad. So even though Baybayin has three vowel symbols, Baybayin was originally an abjad because Tagalog and even the other Philippine languages had few vowels. So we had only three vowels: a, and e, and o and u. So for many languages in the Philippines, e and a are not very distinguishable. In Tagalog, the o and u are not very distinguishable. They could be distinguished in some words, but in some other words like totoo and totoo, they're not very distinguishable. Totoo, totoo. Noon, noon, they're not very distinguishable. So, uh, because because the Tagalog and other Philippine languages had few vowels and they're much simpler, they didn't have much consonant clusters like tr, pr, sp. They didn't have much of that. So baybayin could be Filipino, Tagalog, and other languages could be represented simply by consonants. So, for example, by just looking at this, you could probably infer what it means. Okay. So, for the first one, may I ask? May I ask Luella to read the first one?
Ano po, kumain ka na ba?
Thank you very much. Okay. Let's have Mayril to read the second one.
San ka?
Thank you. Maybe the third one is a little difficult, but you can still get it. Pious.
Uh, kam, kami,
No, read it as in Tagalog. Try to
kami,
infer the Tagalog word.
kam, kama. I don't know the
Thank you
first
very
word.
much, Pious. Let's try Tisha.
Kumuha ako ng eh, talong.
Okay, walang N yan, so hindi talong. Sige, thank you very much. Siguro, yeah, you can add vowels siguro. May vowels naman kasi sa baybayin. So, kumuha ako ng itlog. Maybe, something like that. Thank you very much, Desiree. So, it might be it's difficult for you because we don't have much context. But when you text each other, you already have the context. Okay, so you probably, I'm sure that in your texting, you do something like this. And according to Dr. Joel Malabanan, texting now is like baybayin before, because when we text now, we don't put much of the vowels because they can be easily inferred. So baybayin was like that, and Hebrew is definitely like that. Okay, thank you for those who recited. So baybayin later became an abugida when dots were placed along with consonants to indicate A, E, or O, U. Okay? Baybayin originally was an abjad. Later on, it became an abugida with the friars, the Spanish missionaries being the ones who added the dots. Okay. So what's an abugida? Like a syllabary, abugida is like a syllabary, but unlike in a syllabary, the consonant and the vowel could be distinguished because there is a separate symbol for a consonant with a small diacritic for a vowel. So the difference between abugida is and the abjad is that in the abjad, the difference between abugida and a syllabary. In a syllabary, you cannot distinguish the consonant from the vowel. But in abugida, you can distinguish the prominent consonant and the diacritic, which represents a vowel. Okay, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I say that you put dots on the side or below of baybayin characters. So below, it means u. If it's on the side, on the right side, it's e or e. If there's none, then it's a. The vowel is a. Now the friars added a cross underneath a symbol to show that it has no vowel. So the consonant doesn't have a vowel if there's a cross underneath. All those diacritics, those diacritics were added by the Spanish friars to the syllables, okay, to the characters, okay, to produce, to give us a hint for the characters. Okay, so notice here in Baybayin we have, if there's no, if for the symbol k, if there's no dot, it's ka. If the dot is above, not on the side pala, above, then it's ke or ki. If it's below, then it's ko or ku. If it's across, then there's no vowel. Now remember, these dots and this cross was added by Spanish friars, okay, to help them understand what baybayin was. Now, an example of a book with baybayin is the Doctrina Christiana. The Doctrina Christiana was a book written for catechism purposes, and it had baybayin letters, baybayin symbols. Okay, so we could say then that this is modified baybayin. We could also give this is also the case in the Masoretic text of of Hebrew. Okay, by the way, Hebrew had evolved a lot in many ancient times, from the time of Moses up to the time of the Masoretes. In the Masoretes, for the Masoretes, they added clues, symbols that would indicate the vowels. So notice below, there's a dot. If you look at the lowest portion of this infographic, there are dots. There's one dot, there's two dots, there's three dots, which indicate vowels. Okay, so the Hebrew Masoretic text is an example of an abugida. Abugida. Okay, so the abjad of Hebrew, which was composed only of consonants, turned into an abugida with the Masoretic text. Okay, the Masoretes were a group of scribes who uh, copied by biblical manuscripts. Again, class, the difference between syllabary and abugida is that in a syllabary, you cannot distinguish the consonants and the vowels. So, like in hiragana, you have kake, kikoku. but there's no indication where the vowel is. But in an abugida, you can distinguish the prominent consonant and the smaller, much smaller symbol for a vowel. Okay, just like in modified by Bayi. Okay. Okay. Then we also have the alphabet. In an alphabet, in an alphabet, let me fix my monitor. Alphabet. Alphabet. Monitor isn't working. Alphabet. Alphabet. Okay. In an alphabet, both consonants and vowels are represented. So the name may have come from alpha and beta, the first two words of the Greek alphabet. So the Greeks probably took the abjad of the Arabs and added vowels because vowels are more prominent in Greek. Because vowels are prominent in Greek, the the Greeks added symbols for vowels. Okay, that's the purpose for their adding addition of vowels. So that's the reason why abjads became vowels, because the Greeks added vowels because vowels are more prominent in Greek. Okay, you're familiar with the Latin alphabet, the Greek alphabet, and the Latin alphabet. Here's I'll show you the Cyrillic alphabet. So again, the alphabet represents both consonants and vowels. You're familiar with the Latin and the Greek and Latin alphabet. And so let me share with you the Cyrillic alphabet. The Cyrillic alphabet was added by Slavic speaking people like Russians and Serbians. So the Cyrillic alphabet was added in order to represent Slavic sounds. Okay, and here's the Cyrillic alphabet. You probably encountered Cyrillic alphabet when you encountered Russian spelling, Russian words. Okay, that's the Cyrillic alphabet. Okay, so there are other symbols that were added in order to accommodate uh, sounds in Slavic that's not found in the Greek alphabet. Okay, so here's a comparison of alphabet, syllabary, and abugida. Here's a comparison of Latin, Japanese, and Tamil. So you have the alphabet kaki, ku, ke, ko. Notice in the syllabary of Japanese hiragana, the vowels are not indicated. Okay? The consonants and the vowels are both represented by one single symbol. On the other hand, also that's a syllabary. Okay, the Japanese hiragana, where the symbols for the symbol represents both the consonant and the vowel. That's a syllabary. On the other hand, in Tamil, which is in India, uh, we have an example of the abugida. The black colored ones are the consonants, and you have a little bit of scribble in red, and those are scribbles for vowels. Okay, they symbolize vowels. Again, in the abugida, you have additional symbol for the vowel. Okay, so alphabet, that's the alphabet, the syllabary, and the abugida. And we also have a logography. In a logography, a symbol stands for a word or morpheme. Okay, we will have two videos that will help us understand logography in a more engaging way. Okay, examples of a logography are Egyptian hieroglyphics. Egyptian hieroglyphics. Egyptian hieroglyphics evolved from a pictograph where a picture represents a word to a picture serving as a sound. So they decided to use a picture to serve a sound. Now, to provide a clue to interpreting the main symbol, an additional symbol provides a clue if the picture is to be interpreted as a word and which word, or a sound and which sound. Okay, we'll understand more of that when we watch the video. Okay, this new system makes use of the concept of a rebus. A rebus is a combination of symbols to indicate a word or expression. For example, you have a symbol for sand and you have a symbol for witch. Together they would be sandwich. Okay, in class, important, the secondary symbol is called a determinator or radical. The secondary symbol that provides additional clue as to how to interpret the main symbol is called a determinator or a radical. Okay, take note of that. By the way, you don't need to submit notes for this video, but this will be part of your assessment. Here's an example of a rebus. Okay, you have the symbol for a man beside a tree. It's like a leaning on a tree. The man is leaning on a tree. So this is a symbol for rest. Now, I don't know why in Chinese, the symbol for mother, if you put the symbol for mother under a roof, it becomes a symbol for the word peace. So if you have a mother under a roof, it's peace. Okay, so here's an example of the rebus. Okay, the rebus is a group of pictures or symbols that represent something. Okay, we'll have more exercises for the rebus when we discuss secret language. But the rebus greatly aids in the interpretation of logographic symbols. Okay, another example is the cuneiform. Cuneiform, kunai means wedge. So these are forms produced using wedges. And this is in Mesopotamia. Hieroglyphics were in Egypt. In Mesopotamia, we have the cuneiform, symbols produced using wedges. So notice there were more like pictures at the start, 3,200 years before Christ, and later on it became more symbolic. Notice on the left, there are more They're more like pictures. But on the right, they've become more of symbols. Okay, logographic symbols. And then finally, we have alphabetic syllabary. The alphabetic syllabary, by the way, I did not include that in my original list. The alphabetic syllabary makes use of advantages of alphabet, syllabary, and logography. Logography. Okay, it makes use of the advantages of alphabetic, syllabaric, and logographic advantages. Whatever advantages you have for alphabets, syllabaries, and logographies, it's utilized by a writing system called an alphabetic syllabary. And here is an example: Korean Hangul. The king who invented the Korean Hangul was so smart. Okay, and many of the symbols there have to do with the tongue and with how a word is pronounced, how a sound is pronounced. Okay, so that is an alphabetic syllabary that makes use of the advantages of the alphabet, the syllabary, and the logography. Okay. Do you have any questions, class?